Hello, and let's keep playing through these character sheets on the Player's D&D Vault for my players. We are nearing the end, I promise. This is the campaign section, which is the last large section. We'll see as I go filming this, I might break this into two because it is extensive. There's a lot more in this section. But I do want to enforce to all of you that basically everything that's down here is up to you and how you like your sheets. So to start with, this image that we can already see of Esu as we were building her character sheet is already instant. This is a code block that is actually pulling the image from our front matter, the one that we put in at the top when we were figuring out pictures, and then the large code block at the top, the big box. And so that is what we are looking at for our picture here. We have this set in some columns and some blue boxes to help organize information. So in order to fill this in, which is likely only to be touched when we first build our character sheet, it is up in this corner that once we hover over the box, we get that pop up. Edit this block. And here is our columns code. You can see that's the big nasty code for pulling that picture out of our front matter. So her appearance, we have things like her height as a dragonborn, her weight, I'm not even going to try to guess. She is medium in size. She has no hair as a Western dragonborn. Her eyes are actually green because of her background, even though her skin is blue. And her wings and tail get a touch of purple, while her makeup is often themed with green, because green ties her back to her snaky self. She's kind of green yellow in her eyes, honestly. Okay, so any personality info that I want to fill in is available here. So we know that she is extremely loyal to Zhao Suli and Sao Liang, who are respectively her husband and her patron. We know things like her ideals, definitely not honesty. She is a rogue after all. She is not clumsy. But her ideals are things like power is above all. If I wanted to make notes on her tone, she speaks with an S slur from the old forked tongue. She used to be a Yanti. So things like that I can hone in there. And then of course her background information. After a series of unfortunate events. And I'm not going to worry about filling in the rest of her backstory in here, or we will all be here for a long time, but I will eventually. Then we have the companion stat block section. And so this is a code block, as you can see. But it is not so scary. So there's this little button here. And what this is doing is this is pulling code blocks from the initiative tracker and TTRPG different plugins. And so we just edit this code block, and it's just to see a stat block. So we have the monster and Yin for her. So the name, we're going to put Yin. And Yin is running on Displacer Serpent stats. And so now we suddenly have Yin stat block. Now, the other wonderful way to do this is with images. So the other way that we can do it is to copy and paste an image or an image code, if you have one for your stat block, and you can put it in like that. Now, this is Yang's, and Yang was given to her. It was created separately, so that's why it is not actually in this system yet, but I want this centered. I don't like how that looks. So at the end of the image, I'm just going to big line, center. It didn't work. That's supposed to work. And it doesn't always. So the other option is, whoops, close the link again, is that I actually would prefer to see these in columns. So then I can go in and put them in columns since I have more than one, or I could ask DM to do it. Ask me to do it. I am happy to put them in columns for you. But I am just going to throw in some quick columns because I know the column code off the top of my heart by now because I have done this so much. And now that I've got some gaps there, I'm going to copy this, use the arrows back into my column code since it's currently like empty and weird looking, and then copy this and put it in my column code. Uh-oh. Oh, that's why, because there's two of this. So sometimes you don't need two of them. It just needs one and it'll read the code line. So there you go. And that just looks better. But of course, now that it's in columns, Yin being a 2-column stat block doesn't look as nice. So I can change her thing to 1. Boom, done. 1. There. And now we have Yin and Yang looking much nicer together. And so that is it. Now, if this comes up blank and you don't know what you did, you're looking for a stat block. Just go square bracket, and look up the page. It will show as Bestiary Beast. And if there is one, then that is the name you need to put in, and it needs to be case sensitive. That is usually the problem, is that it does need to be case sensitive. So in her case, Displacer Beast was put in with a capital D, capital S. Done. The next section is this connections and relationships. This is a big deal. This is a new feature. And it is absolutely amazing. It was done by Josh Plunkett from his vault. My entire vault is based from his. I highly recommend go check out his Patreon, get some stuff from there. And so this is set up so that you can simply add things so easily. So for example, and it auto links, which is amazing. So for example, her husband, Joe Sully Tail. If I put in the exact name, then when it says partner, it's going to link to his page, which is hilariously distorted, but there is his character sheet. And so as I put things in, it may put in something that isn't in the system. So let's put in her children. Zhao Ying is not in the system. But as he adds to the table, it's just going to show up unlinked because I have not made an NPC page for him. If I have made an NPC page for somebody, or I want to, which is just a button right here, I could make pages for them. So there's Zhao Ying. Zhao Fan Yu is her son. I could put in all her kids. I could put in siblings, parents, enemies, allies, any of that. And it will create links to them all in here. And put them as separate categories. That is something that I have absolutely fallen in love with. It is something that I think people will get a lot of use out of, and I encourage you guys to fully enjoy this. Add your NPCs so that they do auto link. It'll be amazing. You have a section here just for general notes. Just type stuff out, enter it. Nice, quick, easy, quick reference. Of course, for other notes, I always encourage the note system that is based around your campaign. But if you have specific notes that, don't need to be campaign ready, don't need to be viewable to everybody, this is where to put them. Then you have locations. And this is the TTRPG Maps, Zoom Maps plugin. And I cannot tell you enough how in love I am with this plugin. So this is another thing that you do need to make unique. You need to make the map ID unique, and you need to make where the markers are stored unique in here. Okay. Once that is unique, then all pins in here are special to this map. All the information about it is special to this map. Now, what's amazing about this map is that even though you can go into the coding here to change the ID and where the markers are stored, you don't have to go into this map to do anything else. If I right click it, this is where I can add my markers. I can change image layers, so I can actually change between pictures and between the ones that I am using. So for example, add a layer, add a new base. And I know I have a map in here of Sholong. And that is where she primarily lives right now. And so I want a Sholong map, and I am going to save it. So now when I right click this and I see image layers, I have the Faerun world map and I have the Sholong map. And there is the Sholong map. So that I can see where we're going and where we need to be. That is one of the wonderful things about this ability. And any pins I want to put in, I can. So right click. I can also set up measurement with just calibrating a scale so that I know how far it gets to get to places. I can find out travel time. What speed are we going? Units that we're working with. I can set up different layers and mark pins to match with specific layers. So if I right click this and I go into options, edit view, I can change the name of them. I can add more bases, more images to become bases. This is also how your calendar system works on your campaign pages. Change where things are stored, change the layers. So this is the maps pin layers. I want the world versus shoe. You can change the width, the height of your windows, what you call it. Everything is changeable in here instead of having to go into the code, which just makes working with these maps absolutely amazing. I love the party pins being movable. If I was playing a character that wasn't working with the campaign, then I might run a party pin on here instead of on the campaign page. But that is the point of this. And so you can also then have maps you find important. And if you want this kind of a map without it being in this map, all you have to do is come over here to this command palette and go look for TTRPG Tools Maps, and it will insert another map for you. So those ones are absolutely fantastic. So, quick understanding. Columns, just so that quick review for anybody who wants to use this. Columns, blue boxes, the data view to pull the image from the front matter. Columns, let's confirm. I believe that one comes from the initiative tracker largely. It also comes from the Solo RPG Toolkit. TTRPG Maps has to go through BRAT, just like the DnD UI Toolkit has to go through BRAT. Okay, those are all very important, very amazing pieces that I highly, highly recommend. This is using Mermaid, which is actually built into Obsidian, but it's glorious. And it's just using a blue drop down to extra note to how to hide these little tables for you. And of course, your maps all set up so that you can function. This is one of my favorite areas on the character page because I love filling in and entering extra details, and I'm a note taker when I play, so I reference down here a lot. I hope you guys enjoy it and get as much use out of it as possible as well. And have a great day. Enjoy your character sheets.